Bases dropped on a Freestyle Friday on Soccer's Morning Show. John, hear you there. We're packed. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got a couple of interviews that we're going to have. One in hour number one coming up in just a little bit with our buddy Jack Collison and Huntsville City Football Club. Hour number two, we're going to catch up with the head coach of the Chargers of Alabama Huntsville, John Carrier. Blastoff Battle is a week away, literally a week away. Week from today, 2 games on Friday, and then 2 games on next Sunday. We're going to catch up with them and get their perspectives on things. Like I said, Jack Collison coming up in just a little bit. We've got a lot of news to get into. We've got Atlanta United to preview. We've got some stuff with Thiago Almada. We've got some stuff with the Premier League. We've got a lot of stuff to get into this morning. And so it'll be great to get your thoughts as we go into the weekend. What's on your mind? I know that we're going to talk about Atlanta United and the Tampa Bay Rowdies coming up on the weekend. Tomorrow afternoon, it'll be Mike and Jason on the call at Al Lang Stadium in downtown St. Petersburg, right there on the water. And it'll be on ATLUTD.com and on 92.9 The Game. So you'll get your simulcast of Atlanta United audio and video, and that will be going on tomorrow afternoon. Also, a busy night on the network. It's a busy day here at the network because we've got the morning show. And then tonight, 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock, it is the game of the week. And the game of the week this time around, we go to River Ridge for the SDH game of the week, brought to us by our friends at Kaiser Permanente, by Subaru of Gwinnett, and by Reverb Hotel by Hard Rock Atlanta across from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We'll be at River Ridge, Roswell and River Ridge. And we'll have Maddie come in. Maddie always in charge of the ones and twos. We'll have Maddie come in, and we'll talk about Soccer's in Session, because if you missed those episodes, they're up and running now, boys side, girls side. Maddie's had a very busy week. We'll get her preview and her conversations with the coaches that she's caught up with. Roswell River Ridge, girls at 6, boys at 8. Those will be on the network on social media platforms. So as you digest the show in the morning, that's how we'll give you the matches tonight. So keep an eye out on Twitch on the 280 character app. And that'll be how you'll catch Roswell and River Ridge tonight, 6 and 8. The games will be rolled over, and you will be able to catch the replays of the games forever and ever and ever and ever and ever at SDH. So after the girls' game, that'll be uploaded to the network, and the boys' game will be uploaded as well. 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock live on social media here at SDH, and then you'll catch the replays, however you want to catch the replays and however many times you want to catch the replays. Apparently, it's a very busy night at River Ridge. I think they've got basketball going on too. So Roswell and River Ridge, that's going to be the doubleheader for the SDH game of the week here on Friday. Next Tuesday, it'll be just the solo game, Clarkston and McIntosh at McIntosh down in Peachtree City. So it'll be great to catch up with our buddy Bunky Colvin, and 2 really solid programs. We know about McIntosh. It'll be the chance to catch up with Clarkston as well early in the season. So Tuesday is Clarkston and McIntosh, boys only, and that'll be on the network. I think it's a 6 o'clock start. So Clarkston and McIntosh Tuesday for the Tuesday night throwdown next week. We've got our February schedule all figured out. We're trying to get March. We've got some interesting destinations and things like that are going to be all laid out for you in short order. But once again tonight, Roswell River Ridge on the network. That is coming up at 6 o'clock. A little before 6, we'll come on. Maddie will do the girls' game because of the conversation he said. I'll have the boys' game at 8. And we'll probably get home about 11. So there you go. Morning, Dell. Morning, Coco. Morning, Alex. And yes, and of course, yes, Dell and the Rowdies. We know how much you both enjoy each other. So there you go. All right. So opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There is your QR code for those of you who are watching on Twitch and on the 280 character app and on our YouTube channel. Once again, don't forget that you can use the code SoccerDownHere15 to get 15% off your purchase and get to kick off your day. See what I did there? Kickoff Coffee. Get to kick off your day with our friends at Kickoff Coffee. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives that they have earmarked all up and down the line. And it's very, very cool what our friends at Kickoff Coffee are doing. And once again, SoccerDownHere15 is your code, 15% off, 10% reinvested into youth games and youth initiatives. That's your QR code right there. brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. For opening kickoff this morning, we're going to catch up with our buddy Jack Collison and to find out what's on Jack's mind. And that's a lot. Like I said, they're a week away from hosting Blastoff Battle up in Huntsville at Joe Davis. And so it's going to be a real fun thing to kick off the season. You're going to have 4 teams that are there. We're going to catch up with John Carrier, the head coach of the UAH Chargers, coming up in just a little bit. But first, as we say, time to catch up with our buddy Jack Collison and find out what's on his mind as he's a week away from this big open season kickoff. There's a lot of cool stuff coming up around the corner, but how has the offseason been? What was the biggest lesson, you think, that you took from 2023 that you've applied to 2024?
Let me tell you, it's been long. It's been long. It's been a really long off season, but thankfully we've done some really good work, recruited really well, and not just in terms of players. We've brought in some really exciting young talent who I'm excited to see sort of how they go. Obviously, bags of potential, and now it's about them putting in consistent performances and showing they're ready for Gary's team up at Nashville, but. Also on the staffing side, we brought in some great people who are going to help. Christoph Berra as an assistant coach, over 600 professional league games, come all the way from Scotland. Zach Herald, who you may know very well from Atlanta, has come and joined forces, and obviously Matt Cairns as well. And we're really excited to bring on with a vast experience in terms of helping with that recruitment stuff and hopefully finding some hidden gems out there.
How has the integration been, not just with all the new faces that you're bringing in on the field, but all the off the field stuff? You mentioned the excitement that's attached to all these folks that are coming in. How have everybody integrated so far?
Yeah, I think the benefits of us having a full year under our belt, if we look where we were 12 months ago, we're miles ahead of where we were in terms of pretty much everything. Obviously, playing our first 7 games on the road last year was obviously very difficult. And now we've got this beautiful stadium that we can call home over here at the Joe. The training facilities are first class. And I think having that year experience of the league and understanding the level and also Gary's expectations of what it's going to take for the youngsters to take the next steps, we're kind of in a really good spot now. And thankfully, we've managed to keep hold of the players we felt would be good to obviously help us continue building that culture and everything we're trying to embed down here in Huntsville. And as I said, added some really exciting additions who I'm just looking forward to seeing them go out there and play now.
What has it been like for you now that you've had this full 12 months there in Huntsville and up there in the northern section of Alabama and getting the reach into Nashville and Middle Tennessee as well? What's it been like for you to continue to spread the gospel, I guess, as you could say there at Huntsville?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Joe. I just feel very blessed to be in the position I'm in. When you talk about a soccer community and you can talk about the country as a whole, but watching the growth in the country has been magnificent. But certainly seeing it in Huntsville, the amount of facilities, the pitches that are going up everywhere. Obviously, we've got the big Blastoff Battle coming up, which we're really looking forward to. But on that same weekend, there's a big high school tournament. And I know I keep mentioning it, but the men's league's getting really competitive. So I'm still getting out there myself and getting some minutes as well. But to be in a community that really sort of feels the passion for the game and gets behind the team and supports the team, it's great. And when you talk about being inspired walking out there on a Saturday evening or Friday evening, whenever we're going to be playing our games this year, it's great to go out there and have 6,000 vocal people behind you supporting these youngsters, because you know how it is. They're going to make a lot of mistakes within games, and obviously we want to try and create a platform where they're able to make mistakes and they're able to improve and able to embrace that little bit of pressure that comes with it, but really show that potential that we obviously see in these young kids. And to have a supportive fan base behind us is something that's really great. And obviously for us, looking to build on a lot of the foundations that we put in place last year, because our home form was actually pretty good on the whole and unfortunately fell short towards the end. But if you look on the season as a whole, it was probably that start for us in first 7 games on the road, not getting in the win section until game 8 where we played Crown Legacy here at home, probably come back to sort of bite us. So this season we've got a slightly reversed schedule. Obviously excited to see it come out today. 4 of our first 6 games are all at home here at the Joe. So it's important for us to have a good preseason and try and create a bit of early momentum.
Do you get recognized when you go to the store? I mean, because I figure guys might want to get stuck in the tackle with you a little bit when you're there in the adult leagues. It's like, yeah, I took out the head coach. What's it like for you in the community up there?
No, it's great. And I said it from day one. You could really feel the love and support. And it's nice now sort of getting to know a lot of the locals and a lot of the local clubs. I mean, my 4-year-old plays at United Soccer Club. So slightly different role for me there, being the supportive parent and not trying to get too involved, which has been great. But as I say, you can really feel the energy around the place, and I think when you talk about trying to create a team that really sort of embodies the community as well, like there's so much going on here, building everywhere, some great people around, fantastic restaurants, so you can feel the energy around the city and feel as it's really on the up, and I think that coincides with what we're trying to do as a football team, as a soccer team. We're trying to create something with lots of energy, really vibrant, something that's exciting and wants to bring fans in to come and watch us. And our big aim is obviously to embody that Huntsville culture, that Huntsville city, and put out a product that everyone can be proud of.
In this tournament coming up, the Blastoff Battle there coming up next weekend, it's going to be you. It's going to be Alabama Huntsville. The Chargers are going to be a part of this too. And you're going to have your friends from South Georgia Tormenta coming up from Statesboro and Chattanooga FC. When you look at these other three sides coming in, what sticks out in your mind from the early research you've done?
Yeah, so I think for us, obviously, it's great to be able to get eyes on Chattanooga. Our first game of the season, obviously playing them away on that weekend in March. So for us to be able to get eyes on them up close will be fantastic. We played them last year in pre-season and had a really competitive game. So I'm sure they're really, really looking forward to the season ahead and being a part of the MLS Next Pro. Tormenta, I'm very aware of. Obviously, spent a lot of time over in Atlanta playing games against them, friendlies here and there. And they're always going to be well organised, well set up, and within that, they've always got one or two real special players. So we know that's going to be a challenge. And then probably for me, the most exciting game is going to be that UAH game where we play the Chargers. During the past 12 months, we built a great relationship with them. John Carrier, the head coach, is a close personal friend of mine now. So we have a few old fashions together every now and then. So I'm sure you can imagine that the banter's been flying already. But he's been a great support, and they've been a great support in terms of helping us with training players. We've had a lot of their guys in to help with numbers. We've played a couple of friendlies against them already, and I probably got out to watch them 5 or 6 times myself last season. So very aware of what they're bringing to the party, and just really looking forward to that because I think it's going to be a really special night for the community of Huntsville.
All right. So since you went ahead and mentioned it's going to be a special night and a special weekend, I know I don't have an envelope here to break open and blow into and hand a piece of paper to you, but go ahead and make the announcement for everybody here at SDH.
What's that? Oh yeah. Big night. Obviously, Soccer Down here are coming. Can't wait to see you down there. You guys are so awesome, and obviously very thankful for the support I had during my time at Atlanta. So really pleased to open the doors and welcome you down to the Joe to come and watch some incredible football, and it would just be nice to see you again. So hopefully it'll be a weekend of goals and exciting games and big moments, and of course, to be able to share these special moments with not only colleagues within the game, but friends will be a great weekend.
SDH, the home of Blastoff Battle in 2024. Jack Collison breaking the news. I'll save the breaking news sounder for a little later. We'll catch up with you soon, my friend. We'll see you before we know it. Thanks for dropping the intel about everything going on at there.
Thanks, John. Appreciate you.
So there you go. There's your breaking news, and we figured we'd let Jack break it for you. So, so we'll go ahead and go here. As Jack said, SDH, the home of the Blastoff Battle here in 2024. So all 4 games of the Blastoff Battle will be on the SDH network. We will be up there. So next Friday is going to be very, very busy on the network. So busy that it's going to have to take 2 separate channels to get it figured out. the birth of SDH2 tomorrow on next week. Technically between now and then, but the first unveiling of SDH2 because of Blastoff Battle. SDH2 on the OSG Sports Network. February 16th, it is 5 and 8. Those are your kickoff times. So 5 o'clock next Friday afternoon, Tormenta and Chattanooga FC. Followed by the match that Jack talked about at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central, Huntsville City Football Club and UAH. We'll hear from John Carrier in hour number 2. February 18th, because of travel, times are a little earlier. So noon kick, Sunday the 18th, UAH and Chattanooga FC. Your nightcap, which is really more of an afternoon brunch, Hunt City, Tormenta, 3:15 Eastern Time. So there you go. All 4 matches on the SDH network. We'll let you know how you can access them. Obviously, the archived games, you can hear those for eternity after they're done. But because of the high school schedule, because of Blastoff Battle, we now get to multiply. So next week, Chapel Hill and Alexander, that's going to be on the 16th. That'll be on one of our channels. Blastoff Battle doubleheader. I will be there in Huntsville for day 1. That'll be on the second channel. So 2 opportunities. You're going to have multiple devices going because of how busy next Friday is going to be. Friday, Sunday. Blastoff Battle Friday. High school on Friday. Blastoff Battle wrap up on Sunday. We are very, very, we are over the moon about this. So as we are in our 8th season, we're coming at you from 2 different directions, technically 3 because of the college football side of things. We could do 3 things at once if we wanted to, but officially 2 different ways to listen to SDH and live events. So, and the Blastoff Battle made us do it. Extremely thankful to our friends at Huntsville City Football Club and Nashville SC for letting us broadcast the games for this planet and all the other planets. So there you go. That's your official announcement. Jack broke the news just a little bit ago that we're the home of the Blastoff Battle in 2024. Could not be more blessed to be able to do something like that. So that's your news. And yes, Dell, eventually it will be SDH Ocho. SDH News and SDHU coming soon. And Coco, I mean, honestly, the high school stuff is probably more like SDHU. SDHS? But SDHU, we're right there. So very, very busy Friday. We've got high school games on one. We've got Blastoff Battle on the other. And Jason will be joining on the matches on Sunday. Yes, SDH Prep. Coco, you're spot on. So that's your breaking news here on a Friday morning out of the blocks that Blastoff Battle and high school here in SDH. So once again, could not thank our friends at Huntsville City Football Club for letting us do that. Like I said, we're going to catch up with John Carrier, the head coach of UAH, coming up in hour number 2. So that's some pretty big stuff. It's always great to catch up with our buddy Jack Collison, but when you can come on and sit there and say that you're doing a preseason tournament in Huntsville, Alabama, that's very, very cool. So once again, could not be more blessed or more thankful to be able to do something like that. And so now you know the rest of the story. That's why we had Jack on first. We did that yesterday. So once again, thanks to all of our friends up in Huntsville. We will see you in Huntsville next weekend, and we will see you in the high school games a little further on. All right. One other item that kind of wanted to get into, and it has to do with Minnesota United. And Minnesota United, they're really hurting. And it'll be... Well, let's just say that the Minnesota United situation will continue to be intriguing as we continue to go. So, Minnesota United yesterday, and I don't know how many of you guys saw this, when it came to the activity of the coaching staff. We have long been discussing what's been going on with the coaching staff at Minnesota United. They're on their second substitute teacher. They don't have a head coach. They finally, by the way, have their own chief soccer officer. He is finally on this side of the planet. So the chief soccer officer is here. But now they've lost yet another coach. Stuart Kerr is gone. He posted on Twitter yesterday, today, me and Minnesota United have mutually agreed to part ways after 5 years. I'd like to place on record my thanks to ownership, capital O, staff and the fans, all superb coaches that I've had the pleasure to work with. Most importantly, my goalkeepers. It's been a pleasure every day. Thank you. Responsible for the growth of Dane St. Clair between the sticks. So Stuart Kerr is now gone at Minnesota. Minnesota now legitimately, well, first off, they don't have any coaches left over from the Adrian Heath administration. But now, who's coaching them, period? I mean, legitimately, who is coaching these people, period? You're in the shiny desert, and you're getting everybody warm and everything. Andy Greeter, who's been on top of this, the entire coaching staff under Adrian Heath has now left the Loons. Kerr's a long track record of developing keepers, including Dane St. Clair. So no one is left. No one. No one's gone. Yet they are implementing, according to Andy Greeter earlier this week, a high-intensity pressing style going into the 24 season. There was a bit of an update earlier this week about the idea of a head coach. Cam Knowles was interviewed about it. And, that's what they're going to do. So Cam Knowles is the interim. He's the second substitute teacher that they've had. But, so yeah, they're still looking for a head coach. They're cool with going into the year without a head coach. Legitimately, they're cool with this. They're cool with it, and they've had a drop in their dudes. And so you end up with a substitute teacher, and they're cool with this. And since we're talking about transfers down here and teams down here, once again, this is what happens when you don't have an afternoon drive show. The Duncan McGuire saga is officially over, kind of, sort of. Blackburn's appeal rejected. The deal off. Saga over. Set to fly back to the U.S. today. Next steps for his future for Orlando City will be determined upon arrival. So everything that we saw, the dribbling of the ball down the hallway, the how about a slam dunk? It was not. A slam dunk, it was not, sir. It was not. So then the club yesterday afternoon comes out with a statement, 2:12 yesterday, following the decision by the EFL board. Duncan McGuire will return to Orlando City in the coming days. We understand and sympathize with Duncan's situation over the last week. He is still an important part of our club, capital C, and we are committed to providing him with a platform for his growth. We look forward to welcoming him back into our environment soon. And the way things are right now with our friends at Blackburn, their current head coach is tired of all of this ish, and he wants to go. And they're thinking about bringing in, we talked about John Eustace, the former head coach at Birmingham City that got blown out because they wanted to bring in Wayne Rooney. How'd that work for you, Birmingham City? And so now it looks like Blackburn, their coach, he wants out. That's how bad things are. Coach wants out. They're going to bring in a new coach. Duncan McGuire, they might chase after him again come the summer window. But that's how much of a mess this is. Thank you, Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn is being absolutely ripped from pillar to post, as they should be, in this situation. And Duncan McGuire, you thought it was going to be a $6.5 million deal with all of the bonuses. You thought it was going to be a $7 million deal with all the bonuses after the second time through. But it was not. The EFL statement, EFL had initially rejected the request to register the player on the grounds that Blackburn failed to submit the required paperwork by the 11 p.m. transfer deadline on 1 February 2024, but the club asked that the board review that decision. Paragraph 3. Blackburn Rovers admitted it did not click to submit the application to the EFL until after the closure of the window as a result of human error, but argued that all relevant details had been agreed, signed, and uploaded onto the system in advance of 11 p.m. Upon comprehensive review of the submissions, the board determined that the upload of documents into a draft application area did not constitute sending documents to the EFL. It also took the decision that it was not prepared to exercise discretion to permit the registration outside the window as the EFL executive had correctly interpreted and applied its regulations and associated guidance. Before the matter was considered by the board, the 3 championship directors and the League Two representatives declared an interest and did not participate in the vote. Just because you hit save doesn't mean you hit send. And you didn't. Lesson learned. Hit the send button about 98 different times. Hit it 98 different times before you actually do what you're supposed to do. 4 hours ago, John Eustace set to be named the new Blackburn Rovers manager. And of course, Sam Allardyce felt compelled to weigh in Vinky's and impending Blackburn vacancy. Why? We figured that Sam Allardyce, once Jan Thomason decided that he was not going to be interested, Jan Dahl Thomason was like, okay, I'm out. So, of course, Sam Allardyce decided to sit there and say he had not ruled out a return to the club one day. John Eustace will be the new boss. Neither Thomason's exit nor Eustace's appointment have officially been announced ahead of facing Stoke tomorrow. Formality, though, the paperwork set to be signed, Eustace could be in the dugout tomorrow if the timings align. Speaking about the turmoil at Rovers this week, Allardyce admitted he'd never say never about a return to his former club. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How'd you do? How'd you do? The 69-year-old's been out of work since a 4-game interim spell at Leeds last season, where he wasn't able to prevent them from being relegated. Quote, Blackburn, there's always a possibility, always, he told the No Tippy Tappy football podcast. It's not just about the Venkies. It's about the structure of the football club. Are they staying? Are they going? It appears back in their homeland, they're under lots of financial restrictions. Duh. Any money coming into Blackburn has stopped. Apparently, they have to live on their own income. That'll be very difficult if the club wants to get into the playoffs now. That'd be a major achievement, or trying to get into the Premier League. How about just staying afloat in the championship, Sam? I'm always interested in a club that's willing to go where it needs to go to get back into the Premier League. Yes, I take a dabble in the championship again. I really enjoyed my time at Blackburn. I was bitterly disappointed when I got sacked. I couldn't believe it. Well, sacked in 2010 when the club was 13th in the Premier League table at the time. So, of course, Sam Allardyce felt compelled to sit there and say he'd be interested. Of course. Of course he would. That's our boy Sam. Absolutely. Dell, wish the Battery still had the Carolina Challenge Cup. We do too. And actually, thanks to Robin Sagini, by the way, I have her Carolina Challenge Cup scarf over there. I picked it up from her because she was downsizing her scarfdom, and so I picked up her Triple C scarf, and it's over there. Doesn't help us if there's a part of the discussion, but it's over there. Coco, feel terrible for McGuire. OC have already acquired his replacement, no doubt. Dell, USM&T close to a deal to play Columbia on June 8 at FedEx Field in a Copa America. Why are you playing at FedEx Field? Why? I feel like Ross. Why are you playing at FedEx Field? Why? Why do you want to do that? It's not a good venue. Yes, there's a lot of seats. No, it doesn't have the raccoons that they've got at RFK, but it's an awful venue. Ugh. When will the new men's team start regularly playing in Atlanta? After all, their new headquarters is here. Yeah, Pars, that's a good question. Never because grass. Tom, they will. It is that time. And true to the man's email, he thought with all of his globetrotting, he thought he might be 5 minutes tardy. Sure enough, the man is right on. But honestly, to be able to have our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring hanging out with us on every single Friday that they're not globetrotting on the planet, it's always a cool thing. Here comes the beginning of the intro of the cool thing. Greg Garza.
Good morning.
Morning, dude. It's been a while.
I still am globetrotting. I'm in Nashville right now.
Oh, wow. Okay. So why are you globetrotting in Nashville, sir?
So I was selected to be one of the MLS's spokesperson for it's called MLS ICA, which is Intercultural Awareness. So just trying to help everyone adapt to this league the best way possible. I think being trilingual kind of helps, and we have a lot of international players that come to the country, and they sometimes need to understand what is accepted within the country that they're living in, but also how to behave, So it's essentially mentoring adults, how to be good people.
No, that's very cool. How'd you get tapped to do this with ICA?
So Luis Robles, who is the former New York Red Bull captain and goalie, he had asked me a while back, and just out of the blue, and I said, "Man, I would love to." So it has been the last 3 weeks. I think I have been. I don't even want to know how many miles I've flown, how many hotels. It's like reminding me of. It's been a lonely life the past 3 weeks, and I got 2 more weeks to go, and then I'm done.
Okay, so in 2 weeks when we catch up with you, what hotel room are you going to be in next time?
No, I'm going to be home. I'm going to be home.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So, what's it like mentoring adults? I mean, it's a fascinating situation here that you're attached to with ICA. What's it like, bringing fellow footballers through this stage of their life involving Major League Soccer, something obviously near and dear to you, but also growing the game and making sure that everyone understands about their environments. What's it like for you mentoring adults?
Yeah, it's I'd say it's a little different because you see a lot of former teammates. You see guys that you've played against or played with. I would say it's an area of growth, right? Because these guys, you would figure that, you would hope that most guys that when they're playing at a professional level, they understand sometimes the social responsibilities that come with it. And so in a way, sometimes it kind of makes us ask the question is like, man, we really need to focus on, bettering the environment, and also bettering people who come from different places to understand what is expected within the environment that they come in. And I think that's where you understand where the MLS is the most diverse league in the world. It is the most diverse league in regards to nationalities and countries represented or backgrounds of any other league in the world, like by far. So it's just helping people understand that, sometimes there are things that might be accepted, or there might be things that they're just still maybe ignorant to whenever they get here, and they're not aware of certain things that need to be taken into consideration, and also really thought about whenever you're in our beautiful country that provides a great opportunity for them to do what they love and make a job out of it. So it's almost teaching. It's like I'm a teacher, teaching adults, guys that, are making a lot of money and doing what they love, but hoping that they can get the most out of it and listen. I will say this has kind of been a bet between a few. It's a few former pros that were doing it. I think it's great because the league decided to put in guys that have played. guys who speak different languages, but guys who have a connection and kind of a bond with the league. And a lot of the guys that are there, it's great. I think they would listen much more to us than maybe somebody walking in with a suit on that works from the league. So the coolest and most interesting thing for me, and I always tell Luis as well, is that I've been keeping my tabs and I'm kind of making my tallies of who I think will win the league this year. Because of not the diverse culture that is within every team, but the team culture. The most interesting thing that I have found is that when I get an hour and a half to speak to these teams, when we're doing a lot of interactive things, is that I get to see the team culture, how strong they are. Are they a championship team? Right. And that's been the coolest and most interesting thing for me so far.
And obviously I would think that the learning goes both ways because bless you, because those of us here in the States, in the home of Major League Soccer, should desire to learn just as much about these cultures that are coming into the country to be a part of Major League Soccer, and not just be two separate things here. It's like to make sure that we're as open and outgoing in understanding as we are letting folks in so they understand what's going on here in the U.S.
Most definitely. I think I've learned so many things about, people's backgrounds and where they come from, what origins they have and kind of what values they have as well. But I think at the end of the day, for you to be successful, and especially as a professional soccer player, when you go different places, you must understand the value of adaptability. And Mike and I actually talk about that all the time with kids, right? It's like you aren't going to play for the same team always, right? You have to be the most adaptable. Adaptability is huge into being successful. So, I think a lot of these guys, they have the opportunity to come and play within this league, and you still need to help them adapt the best way possible for them to be the most successful that they can be. Whereas I think there's been too many incidents in the past to where things have happened and, it's not, they just don't understand what is accepted and what is needed to be successful within the environment that they're living in. Right. This has a lot to do with, the racial differences that we have within the United States. This has a lot to do with color. It has a lot to do with race. It has a lot to do with equality, right? And just helping people understand, the rules, right? The rules that wherever you are, there are rules in place, and you kind of have to abide by them. And I know even for myself, I think being a globetrotter within my career, for me to be successful within those other countries, I learned the language, right? I learned the language as quickly as possible. I learned about the culture. I learned about their history. I had these wants and ideas because I didn't want to be that different person. I wanted to, blend in with my teammates, but also blend in with the culture. And I always use the example of, one of my biggest pet peeves was like the first year playing in Portugal, I was always the American. Right? Always the American, always the American, always the American. No matter how well I spoke Portuguese, and I spoke Portuguese in a Brazilian way, because that's the way I had learned it in the beginning. In the Portuguese, they speak much differently. And I pride myself that whole entire year of just learning how to speak Portuguese in a Portuguese way. And I did. And then the second year, it was no longer the American, it was my first name. And so, I think that's something that a lot of these guys, I think, when they come into the league and they have an opportunity to be successful and do what they love and make money doing it, you have that responsibility and that accountability to adapt to wherever you are, right? I think that's the beauty of playing all over the world.
When it comes to teaching and learning with these athletes in Major League Soccer, is it more conversational? It's like, well, hey, here through my experiences, it was I saw this, and this, or are you pulling incidents from other leagues? Like I remember Edinson Cavani got in trouble a couple of years ago in the Premier League for saying something, and it means something in his culture differently than how we would view it in English-speaking cultures. Is it more evidence-based or is it more anecdotal?
No, it's both. But there is a lot of evidence. And that's the unfortunate piece, is that, you know, it's kind of behind the curtains, and I don't think many people know. But there are a lot of unfortunate events and incidents that have happened within this league. And it stinks to show them. It really stinks to show them, because and I think that's where I think that social responsibility comes into play. And it's like, man, if you made it this far and you are a pro and you do what you love and you make a lot of money doing it, then you should know this is not acceptable. You should know that there are ways to act. There are things that you cannot say. We talk a lot about the competitive stress and kind of how that comes into play, right? Competitive stress, the psychological piece of it, which I know absolutely jack squat about, but because I'm not a psychologist, but it is real, right? You are more likely to say something or do something you regret whenever the heat of the moment, right? And I think just helping them understand maybe how to control that, or understand that, hey, if you do say something, or if you do something, there will be consequences. It can't just be a slap on the wrist. And, you know, I think we've seen it in this league, and, you know, happen to others, to where things are said or things are done, and just they're unacceptable for all of us to be professionals. We are working in an organization. We are working in a very professional environment. So you have to act the best way that you can, because a lot of these guys, they're not going to be doing this forever, right? They're going to be put into another setting to where vocabulary might have to change. You know, there might be things that they might say within a locker room that they would never be able to say in a corporate setting. And it's just helping them understand that, hey, man, like this is real. This has happened. We show incidents and events that it has happened within the environment and the league that we are playing in. So we got to put a stop to it.
And it goes to the whole element of being role models as well, because you're a role model within the organization. You were chosen to be a part of an organization because of how you could represent it. First and foremost, we feel that you coming into this organization could represent us the way that we wish to be represented. And then you end up also secondarily being a role model in the community, because you never know who you're going to see. You never know how those interactions are going to rub off on others. And it's almost a twofold kind of a thing here. It's about, first off, being welcomed in, as you said you were, and going through those initial stages of acceptance and understanding. And then once again, being a part of that community going forward. This is a multi-pronged, three-dimensional thing you're talking about here.
It's an ongoing training, right? And I always say it's my ultimatum is that sometimes it's really hard to change a person, what's embedded and what's deep down in them, but you can change their behaviors. You can change their behaviors. You can change their decisions. Sometimes can't change a person, right? And it might be a person who's an addict or a person who's an alcoholic. They will always be, right? They will always be labeled as an alcoholic or an addict, but they have changed their behaviors and they have changed their ways to use the correct tools to not go back to that. And so that's been a major case of what we're doing. And this is an ongoing process, right? This is a pilot program that we're doing, speaking to every single team, and we're going to have to continue to do it over the years to come. And I think it's great that they have allowed us as former players to be a part of it, because it's a huge movement that we need to really take into consideration. I'll say two things. I guarantee you, and I didn't even know this, I played in the league for 4 years. I've asked the veterans. I asked Diego Chara the other day. He's played in the league for 15 years. He's been a professional for 20 years, 21 years. That's the most I've ever seen. 21-year professional. Yeah. And I was like, and you're still 34. And I got everybody to laugh. But it's like one of the things that I think has been kind of really cool to see is that the crest, the MLS crest. All right. If we were to pull up an image of an MLS crest, or if you have it there around you, there's 3 stars on it. 3 stars on the MLS crest. Do you know what they stand for, John?
No. What do they stand for?
No, not one person. I'd actually like to see if anybody in the chat, in the comments, if anybody knows what the 3 stars stand for in MLS crest.
Okay. That's the question of the day. What are the 3 stars?
Question of the day.
All right. Yeah. Okay, right. Go for it. All right.
Well, now I got to give you the answer, but
No. You can dance around it, but you can talk about.
Okay.
Hey, I learned about the 3 stars of the MLS crest.
Yeah.
Now just keep going.
Before I give the answer, I'll give the second thing that I wanted to say, and I think that like if I look back at how successful Atlanta United was, right? I think those years we can say they're long behind us, right? Mm-hmm. We still got a lot to build and we got a lot to grow to hopefully get there once again. But I would love for people to understand, if you look back at that 2017-2018 team, how involved those guys, every single player, including myself, how involved we were within our community. Mm-hmm. How involved were we with the fans? How involved were we with everything around us? That social responsibility. And I haven't seen the same. And I hate to break it to the new Atlanta United players, mm-hmm. but it's not the same. That connection has been, in my personal opinion, has been kind of long gone. Mm-hmm. That personal connection between fans and between the community, I think every single player had something special to represent within that community. And that to me is what makes championship teams. And that's the team culture that I get to see with these other teams. You get to see their team culture with a lot of the exercises that we do and a lot of the workshops that we do. You see how involved they are with their communities and their environment where they already are. And you see guys that really don't care, and they're just there, right? They're just there to play and to kind of, make money and all that kind of. Then you guys see that are willingly involved in everything that not only the club but the city represents. And that's where I say, like, I look back at a championship team. I look back at where almost mostly every single guy had some sort of special connection with the city of Atlanta. And that to me, I take it back and I'm like, well, that's a championship team. But I will say the 3 stars stand for club, mm-hmm. for country, and for community. Mm-hmm. And so I had no idea until I started. We had to do about 40 hours of training to be able to present these presentations. But it's great. All these guys, they wear this crest on their jersey every single day, right? They're representing their own personal values, the club's values for their club, for the country that they represent, right? The nationality that's behind them, and also for the community in which they serve. So it's pretty cool to see that how diverse the league can be within regards to nationalities, but also just that, like I said, that social responsibility that comes behind it.
Greg Garza, our friend from Beyond Goals Mentoring, globetrotting, and I hope that you're getting all the miles and points as humanly possible. See, there you
go. That was the first. I have all these guys keep flying United and American, and like AJ De La Garza is a guy that's also flying around, and he's flying every single airline. And my first email, whenever they asked me to do it, I said, I only fly Delta.
There you go.
So I was like, hey, Delta flies anywhere from Atlanta, right? You can go. I mean, I took the last flight out to Nashville last night. It was like at 10:45. It's like, you see how convenient Atlanta airport is. Man, that's the good thing about living in Atlanta and having Delta right in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm. And you get to hop anywhere, and you're locked into one airline. See, that's you got to teach AJ about this kind of stuff. You can't just fly Spirit and Frontier and United and American, because you're not getting anywhere with. It's like, okay, I got like 100 miles here and 100 miles here and 500 here.
Yeah, no, you got to keep it. You got to keep it under one roof. Yeah.
One roof, one hotel thing. You got to lock into your favorite, and you got to go there. I mean, you got to take AJ to the side and go, bruh.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. So I've been racking up the Delta points and racking up the Marriott points, man, trying to prepare for next Christmas and some travel with the kids, man.
There you go. Greg Garza, and we morphed the Friday Free Kick into talking about the ICA program with Major League Soccer. And this is very, very cool that that you're talking about mentoring fellow players and adults this week. And it was, once again, it's stuff that we stumble into. Remember the 4 selves. We'll talk about that later. We only got 5 more minutes with you, so keep the 4 selves to the side.
We'll do this. I will say the 4 selves today, And this applies to anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
And then the next time we speak, we'll go over.
Okay.
The 4 selves. Number 1 is self-belief. Number 2 is self-discipline. Number 3 is self-assessment, and number 4 is self-regulation.
Okay.
Those are the. It's my favorite exercise that I think I've done with any kid. It's my favorite exercise that I think I've done with any team. They were not given to me. They were given to me by the head scout of U.S. Soccer, and I created an exercise out of it. But I love it. It's like, for you to be successful in anything, I always tell kids, right? Because we gotta remember, a lot of these kids, 0.0001. If we really talk statistics, they're gonna be somewhere else, right? They're not gonna use soccer,
right,
as their platform for the rest of their life. Soccer is going to teach them so many valuable tools, but the anything, whatever you do in life, if you believe in yourself, and I always ask the question, like, what is that? And what is self-discipline, right? What is self-discipline? And it's really easy to say all these things, and then they start to like look at it. Even you as a regular person, right, or an average Joe, you say, hey, okay, man, can I do this? And then self-assessment, right? Only being honest with yourself, nobody else. And then the self-regulation, the control, the balance that goes behind it. When those were given to Mike and I with the national team scout, it was just like my whole entire career, right? When he was giving us those, was just like, even as a kid, we're just like flashing in front of me. And I was just like, I was thinking about myself, right? Just using those 4 things in particular moments of my career, like how much discipline was needed, how much belief was needed, how much assessment was needed, continue to study the game, look at myself and no one else, and just regulation, right? Finding a balance and finding control in everything that you do. It was interesting, man. And I've loved it. There have been so many, I flew my mom down to take care of my kids while I'm doing all this travel. And so sometimes I'll pop in the house. Like tonight, I get home super late, but I'll still mentor. I got to mentor a kid right after this before I go speak to Nashville.
There you go.
Man, I was out of the kids I've mentored, and my mom has just been watching. She just kind of like watches in the corner of her eye. She every time I get off, she's like, "Man, there are some intelligent young kids in the world today, man." Because the things that they come up with the exercises that I do are insane. Like not even I could think about some of the things that they come up with. So it's pretty cool to see like a lot of these kids are just getting smarter and smarter and smarter, man.
No doubt about it. You're doing fantastic stuff there with the ICA program. Glad to hear that, that's part of the globetrotting experience for you. You're in Nashville for the day. You've got a mentoring session once you're done with us. Then you go and mentor adults at Nashville. Yeah. Man, I'm loving all this stuff, and we'll talk about it more next time that you're hanging out with us. Be safe, stay warm, enjoy.
Yeah, it's raining. I don't know what the weather like is in Atlanta, but it's raining here in Nashville, so I can't really walk around. I mean, the only thing that you see in Nashville anymore are just bachelorette parties anyway, man. So it's like that's all they have here. Which I don't know. I talked to somebody from Nashville the other day, and they were like, it used to not be like that. But I feel like every time I've been to Nashville, that's all you see is like 1,000 This is like the bachelorette paradise. It's not Vegas.
You go walking down the main drag, and all you see is like 5 and 6 groups.
Yep.
5 and 6 groups of 5 and 6 women wearing the cowboy hats and the boots and no socks, and they're doing bachelorette parties, and one's wearing a TR.
You got it. Yep.
Stay dry, stay warm. We'll catch up with you, my friend. Thanks for coming on.
Sounds good. See you, man. Have a good day.
Greg Garza. See, that was cool. The fact that Greg is doing that stuff with the ICA program, that's very, very cool. Glad that we got to talk about that. And once again, when he comes back on in 2 weeks, we'll go into the 4 selves. And I wanted to remember to discuss that, the 4 selves, and so we'll have that discussion coming up next time that Greg is on. We'll talk a little bit more in depth. We'll also talk more about the ICA program, because I thought that was very, very cool that they are doing what they're doing there with Major League Soccer. So it is officially hour number 2, top of the hour. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring in Maddie Cruz, who's on the 1s and 2s. So Maddie, I know that you've been kind of busy looking at stuff this morning. So wait a second. You have a funny story about Nashville. Are you allowed to divulge this? Has the statute of limitations disappeared? Is this okay?
No, it's a funny story because y'all were talking about bachelorette trips. So when I went to Nashville, we had all made like my friend group. We all were like, oh, like we've never been to Nashville. Let's make like, so we all like made like cowgirl hats. And we went. And so we made like, we bought the hats. We just decorated them. And we didn't like actually make them like the leather. Like I wish I could. That'd be kind of sick. I don't know if you could do that, but hey. But literally, so the first day we get there, we're like going out, and these two ladies look at us and they go, "Oh my God, who's the bride?" Well, I'm in a white shirt, so everyone turns to me and is like, "Oh, she is." I'm not married. I'm not remotely close to that right now. I was so mad. Oh my gosh, because I was like, "What am I supposed to do?"
Well, considering as much time as you spend here at SDH, you ain't got time to do much of nothing else short of class and SDH.
Yeah, I know. I know. But that story was really funny because I always because I'll look at my friends to this day and I'll be like, so you guys let me walk out in Nashville in a white top and you knew we were going to get mistaken for a bachelorette party?
Absolutely.
I'm like, you did this to me.
Oh, they absolutely hung you out to dry.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. But
absolutely they did.
You guys said that and I was like, that's funny. I was like, I have to bring that up. That's pretty funny.
I mean, that is absolutely par for the course when you go wandering down and around that part of the planet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's fun to hear these kinds of things, but yes, Nashville has turned into the bachelorette party of this or any other planet. So that's
it's huge. It's crazy.
Will and his broken toe are saying that felt is so good for a cowboy hat, and he says what you do is you wear felt in the winter and then you wear straw hats in the summertime. The cowboy hat differences laid out by Will.
I like really want this is I really want to like make a cowboy hat like a staple in what I wear.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just do. I think it's.
I mean, if that's part of your shtick, then if that's what you're hunting for, then that's.
But here's the thing: it's like not. I just like think it'd be kind of like fun to wear a cowboy hat.
No, I mean I completely get that. I mean I've never been the cowboy hat type, short of maybe after watching Urban Cowboy the movie when that came out, and I just dated myself with that reference. So yeah, that's cowboy hats look great on some folks. Cowboy hats do not look good on other folks. But unfortunately, the folks that do not look good in cowboy hats continue to wear the cowboy hats even after they are told that they don't look good wearing cowboy hats.
Yep, absolutely. 100%.
Will doing you a public service and saying go to Cavender's up in Marietta. He says
that's up where my apartment is. That's
yes.
Perfect.
And then Bart, of course, doing the world a favor. Your fellow Swiftie, a light up cowboy hat from the Renaissance tour.
That's amazing. Oh, that is so awesome. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So you see, that's what when you wander into SDH, that's the kind of hard hitting journalism that we have here when you're looking at what's going on. All right, 6 and 8 tonight. We're going to be kind of busy. Games of the week. It is Roswell and River Ridge. You've had a full week doing Soccer is in Session. Looking at the boys and the girls game. So what have you discovered and what are you looking forward to tonight?
First of all, just want to say again, I'm a fangirl for a second. Really cool getting to like be here and listen to Greg Garza talk. That was pretty sick. Anyway, I'm done with my fangirling. I already did that with Michael Parker. But yeah, so love it. But anyway, not the point. Back to high school. Yeah, I mean, I talked to River Ridge's head coach yesterday morning, head coach Lee Whitaker. I talked to him about the girls' side and kind of that progression. He talked to me a lot about the struggles, at least being a head coach when you have such a stacked roster, where to kind of fit people and where to go. And one thing that really stuck out to me was he said this, and you hear a lot of other coaches say it too, but like players buying into their part, buying into the role that the coach needs them to be in, or that they're going to be in, and knowing that that's their role, and then accepting that and moving forward and like being one for the team. It reminds me so much of at least just everything going on now. Like, I hate to bring up Messi and friends, but I'll do it. I mean, like I've always said that soccer is a game of 11 people on that field, and it has to be. It's not a one person. And I feel like that goes exactly to what Garza was saying too. You know, you have that community, and if you have that community, you're going to come out stronger than ever, because if you trust the people that you're on the pitch with, I mean, that goes a long way. And so hearing a coach talk about that, especially from a high school standpoint and growing into the college game and into professional, I think it's so great that you have coaches who are establishing that early, because of how important that community and how important those relationships are when you're on the field and off the field as well.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. So if you missed Soccer's in Session, it is Maddie Cruz, and she tours the high school game every single week on the boys and girls side. So that's up on the network, the new go rounds of everything. 6 and 8 will be on a little before 6 o'clock. Once again, it's on the socials, on the Twitch and the 280 character app, and you can follow along there. And it'll be Roswell at River Ridge at 6. It's the girls. Maddie will have the call for that. The boys will be at 8 o'clock. And I will have the call for that one. So that means that we'll probably be getting home around 11 or 12 or 1 or 2 o'clock tomorrow, considering how much driving that we have to do. A couple of things. You came across a funny moment on Atlanta United Twitters.
Oh, my gosh. This made me laugh so much. I don't even know why it made me laugh so much, but I think I saw it last night when I was like about to go to bed, and I just like, I don't know. It was just so funny.
This is what happens when folks are on ellipticals and they may not necessarily know about the control mechanisms with the ellipticals. Our buddy Shande Silva and the elliptical. And I think it's safe to say that the elliptical won in the battle was Shande Silva.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
ellipticals are scary, man.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's one of those things where you sit there and you go, well, as long as I can keep it at a speed that I'm in control of, I think I'm fine. But then you sit there and you start monkeying with the levels and everything, and then you don't realize how much you've screwed it up and how much you're having to kind of catch up with it, and you kind of look like the old exercise bike routine where the arms and the legs are going different ways, and you're going like this, and it comes completely and totally out of control. You see that with Shande Silva on the Atlanta United 280 character app. So very, very cool stuff. Very, very cool stuff there. All right. So we will have you back a little later on, and we'll continue talking about stuff because we've got news to get into, and we got to get into the Premier League before you go, because Prem and Proper will be coming up later today as well on the network before we get involved in everything else going on. So scour the planet for everything that's important, and we'll catch back up with you in a little bit.
I will search everything. I got it.
Yep, she's thanks, Maddie. Oh man, Maddie Cruz on the ones and twos. We're doing interview segments at Blastoff. Would like to shamelessly plug for the new Huntsville SG. Don't know what we're doing. I know that we're doing some things, and there are some other things that are being looked at and planned. So when we know our plans outside of game stuff, or maybe halftimes, we could do stuff there. So, like I said, it's still the rundown is still a work in progress. We're looking forward to doing the 4 games. But yes, Will, you might have to remind me. So remind me about this as we get closer to or when we are in market. Okay. So the new Huntsville SG, remind me when we get there, because that'll be kind of a fun thing to catch up with you about as well. So remind me when we get closer to. But the bottom line is, if you missed it in hour number 1, we are going to be the home of the audio home of the Blastoff Battle here in 2024. It's going to be on the network. And because of Friday having both high school and Blastoff Battle, we're going to have to be in multiple places. So it's the birth of basically SDH2. And so it'll be fun. Blastoff Battle Friday and Sunday next week, next Friday and next Sunday. High school games, Chapel Hill and Alexander next Friday night as well. So looking forward to all of that and giving you guys all the live content that we can 28 days a week, 412 days out of the year. Okay. So we mentioned Xande Silva. It was a very busy day otherwise for Atlanta United, and we talked about it yesterday, and keeping an eye on FS2 because FS2 has been your home of the CONMEBOL Olympic qualifiers, and we get to keep up with our buddy Thiago Almada. And it was a bit of an early start, and it was a really crazy. It was a crazy game, crazy game yesterday. So you don't even get a handful of minutes in, and we'll take you through the highlights. But you don't get a handful of minutes in, and you get your first goal of the day, and it comes from Argentina. And you're thinking, courtesy of our friends at FS2, that this is going to be a walk. Here was goal number 1.
Medina has the ball inside the box. Back to Pablo Solari. First shot on goal, and a great goal from Argentina. Not even 5 minutes passed by. And the Albiceleste is scoring. They want to be inside the Olympics. It was a stunning goal and a great play from Pablo Solari. Running through the right side, putting that pass right to Medina and back to Pablo Solari, who bounces that ball up the goalkeeper. It was a great right foot, amazing finish from number 7 for Argentina. Argentina won, Paraguay 0 in not even 10 minutes of this game. I said it once and I'm gonna say it once again. It's gonna be an intense match. Ladies and gentlemen, number 7, Pablo Solari.
Yep. So Pablo Solari gets the goal on the board to give Argentina the lead. 3rd minute. And so you're thinking, okay, Argentina, they're going to be in control. This is where you pick up your Ticonderoga number 2 pencil and sit there and go, not so fast, my friend. Because Paraguay scores in the 42nd minute. Diego Gomez makes it 1-1. That was the score at the break. Then you end up with a goal by Alan Nunez in the 70th minute. So 20 minutes to go. Paraguay now in the lead, and they could have qualified for the Summer Olympics if they had held that result, the 2-1 lead. But in the 84th minute, someone that we follow pretty much on a daily basis got to do this to tie things up.
Almada about to take the shot. As he takes it, Argentina equalizes the game. It was no other than Thiago Almada for the penalty kick. Puts Argentina 2-2 against Paraguay on what has been an incredible game. Argentina first took the lead at 3 minutes of this game. Then Paraguay equalized it, then took the lead. And now Argentina is back equalizing. They still want to go to the Olympics. They still want to take up at least a point home. Ladies and gentlemen, Thiago Almada for the 4th goal of this game and the 2nd goal for Argentina.
So Thiago Almada was pretty busy. So you're tied at 2, and you're thinking, okay, each team's got a point, everything's cool. Once again, you pick up your Ticonderoga number 2 pencil and sit there and go, not so fast, my friend. In the 90th minute, Enzo Gonzalez scores. Paraguay gets a 3-2 lead. And so you're thinking, man, this could be really bad for Argentina, because if that holds, once again, we're back to Paraguay qualifying, and Argentina would only have 1 point through 3 matches, and it would really create a hairy situation come the last match day this weekend. But then we go to the bitter end, and I mean the bitter end, like the ending of the end. You were only supposed to have 6 minutes of added time. You ended up with more. Argentina needed it and got it.
For the Olympics with this result, Argentina with the last shot on goal, Ritondo for the equalizer, and Argentina takes it back where we least expected it. It was Ritondo, Argentina for the 3-3. Argentina was never given up on the last seconds of this match before the referee blew his whistle. Argentina equalizes the game, takes a point home. They had a miracle. They wanted the game. They made it.
So Federico Redondo, and he is now in discussions with Messi and friends about possibly going to hang out with the roster because, they kind of need some help. So Federico Redondo now in advanced talks with Messi and friends. Hey, when you score at 90+7, folks are gonna sit there and go, hey now. And so the club is in negotiations. Technically, he's U20. He'd be the U22 initiative. National team D mid Federico Redondo. Boy, do they need help at the D mid position. You bring in Redondo, the 21-year-old son of former Real Madrid AC Milan midfielder Fernando Redondo, plays for Argentinos Juniors. Messi and friends expected to offer an $8 million transfer fee for the talent. He would be one of the 3 U22s, replacing Facundo Farias, who is supposed to be missing the entire season because of the torn ACL that happened in the game against El Salvador B. Under the U22 designation, only $200,000 of Redondo's salary would count against the team's cap. Basically, the team's salary charge, but against the cap. According to folks that were talking to Michelle Kaufman, Miami Herald, Inter Miami still needs to unload quite a bit of salary to be in roster compliance by opening day, the 21st. So at least 1 or 2 more roster moves are to be expected. Redondo means another midfielder is likely expendable. According to Kaufman, 2 that have drawn interest in Brazil, Gregory and Jean Mota, both natives. Gregory scheduled to make $961 to $50. Mota, who just obtained a green card, which would help him out domestically, scheduled to make $828 $750. Your other midfielders, Busquets, Gressel, Gomez, Taylor, Kramaski, who is injured, David Ruiz, and Lawson Sunderland. And remember, McVay went to DC United, Kamal Miller went to Portland, Nico Stefanelli went to Hungary at Fehérvár FC. Final preseason match against Newell's Old Boys is a week from yesterday, coming up at DRV P&K. And this is an unintentional error that I noticed because my mother is an English major. In the article, it's a spelling error, so spell check, and spell check's not going to catch this. Here's the final sentence from the article. The final preseason game is at home, Feb.15 at DRV P&K Stadium against Argentine club Newell's Old Boys, the hometown team of Lionel Messi and Miami coach Tata Martino. The hometown team of Lionel Messi. Yes, I know it's spell check, and yes, I know spell checker is going to skip it, but I can't escape the irony. So Federico Redondo scores yesterday, and it looks like an $8 million tag has been put on his person, and he would be U22 and only count for $200,000. But Messi and friends still have some moves they have to make sure that they are cap compliant. Cap compliant. According to Bart, they are going to play at FedEx Field. USMNT in Colombia, June 8 at FedEx Field. That's just going to be a fantastic viewing. Ugh. FedEx Field is his least favorite sports venue he's ever been to, and Bart says that includes pit venues. Pit venues. I have an affinity for the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse myself. Yeah, the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Send it in, Jerome. But Bart, remember, Monday, when you come on, we're going to talk about VAR overseas. We're going to talk about the M&T, probably the WNT, unless you have a Soccer for US POD coming up that will take up some of the talk. And we're also going to talk about blue cards. So say what you want to say about your blue cards, but we'll talk about it. Apparently that has been shelved for the interim. Ben Rumsby at the Telegraph. Rather than announcing when the trial will take place, a decision has been kicked back. Announcement planned on Friday. But following an extraordinary reaction to the news, according to Rumsby, including from within football's corridors of power, those announcement plans have been blocked. Statement went on to say the introduction of a blue card, blah, blah, blah. It was supposed to be, in the lower levels, but it looks like that's going to be shelved for the interim. Thrown into doubt amidst growing backlash. It's been thrown into doubt, I say. Well, how about this? Maybe if you don't have a blue card, you wouldn't have to worry about it. If you didn't have blue cards, we wouldn't be having all of this upheaval. People. Lesson, don't have a blue card. You don't need them. Because what did we say yesterday? Blue card. Yellow and blue make green, but apparently green is good. So unless you have a green card, which helps you off the field, a yellow and a blue would make a red. 2 yellows make a red. 2 blues make a red. Yellow and a blue make a red. Like I said, I always thought yellow and blue made green. Too many cards. Too many cards. Now, Dell, I have seen nothing about Nottingham Forest and the moving of the ball by Ivan Toney. Nothing. Because there's some wiggle room in the rule that you can move it from one way to, you can move it from one side, I think like a foot or something like that. I think there's some wiggle room in the law. And so plausible deniability plus the application of said law would be the way that you could get away with that. And if you're going to go do a third color, go orange. Because then it'd be like yellow plus. Not quite a red, but you need to go orange or something like that. Yellow, orange, red. I could see an orange because that's yellow plus. So, I don't mauve, Dell. Dell's thinking mauve. Yeah, on the way from a yellow to a red. So basically, you whistled for one more foul. I could see that on the way from a yellow to a red. Or if you just skip yellow and go orange, you're like on your last legs. And we were talking about it yesterday. What would mauve symbolize? If you had different colored cards, I know folks were trying to figure out like purple cards for excessive Orlandoing, I think came up yesterday in the discussion. So if you were mauve, what would you have done? If you get mauve, what would you have accomplished on the field? I feel like Stewie all of a sudden. Oh, he's got a mauve card. How lovely. One of those. So you got that. Crowding the ref. Well, Dale, there should be a card for crowding the ref. But in a situation like that, Dale, just go blackjack dealer. Bang, 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 bang. Don't have any fear whatsoever. Bang, 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 bang. Just hit him. Don't. It's like, if only the captain's armband guy comes to me, that's great. But you start crowding me, bang, 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 bang. Literally, just you get a yellow, and literally, it's Oprah. You get a card, and you get a card, and you get a card, and you get a card. It's Oprah all over again. One for you, and one for you, and one for you, and one for you, and you get an orange card, and you get a red, and you get a yellow. And if you keep mouthing off, I'm going to hit you with another yellow. Seriously. David, I know World Soccer community won't like this, but pretty sure Major Indoor Soccer League had a blue card for the 2-minute penalty. I vaguely remember that. I think you're right. Let's check that real quick. We do have a lot of other things to get into in the Premier League. People are mad. Manchester City's using lawyers. There will be billable hours. I'm not surprised. Sean Dyche is mad because it's like, well, why Everton and not Manchester City? Well, I'll tell you why not Everton and why Everton and not Manchester City. Is it that difficult to figure out? Oh. See, I said cards and it showed up for the 1990 Pacific trading cards. 2002-3. Okay. All right. So let's see if we have MISL rules. Rules of the game. players, subs, duration, start, method, delay, fouls, and time penalties. So we go to like 12. Section 12. This is a 20-year-old document that I just found on the 2-minute power. Yeah, you're right. 2-minute power play. Section 12.2, time penalties. 2-minute power play penalties, highlighted blue. Yeah. 5-minute misconduct, non-power play, highlighted yellow. Ejectionable offenses, highlighted red. Yeah, delayed time penalties, blue or yellow card advantage. You're right on. Absolutely spot on with that. Oh, yeah, here come the money. Yeah, absolutely. Dollar. Klopp on blue cards, by the way. Maddie Cruz on the 1s and 2s. Jurgen Klopp on his Friday presser. These kinds of things just make it more complicated. If you want to test it, no problem with testing. But if that's the first step to agreeing or already being sure that it will happen, I have no idea, to be honest. I have no idea. Doesn't sound like a fantastic idea in first moment. But I can't remember when the last fantastic idea came from these guys, if they ever had one. Man, Klopp out the door. He is taking shots. But I can't remember when the last fantastic idea came from these guys, if they ever had one. Bang! What are they going to do? Put me in coaching jail? You go, Jurgen Klopp. Dell, I did not see Mesut Ozil's comment on blue cards. So Atletico Madrid will only play with 6 players then. Oh. Mesut Ozil had a funny. Yeah, Jurgen Klopp had a funny too. Smacking IFAB around. That's always a good thing. All right. So before we get into the other stuff, Prem and Proper and the other news that we got to get into before we go. Yes, absolutely true. Will Klopp is in his Idgaff grandpa era. Idgaff grandpa Jurgen Klopp. Absolutely he is. We're going to catch up with our buddy John Carrier, the new head, the part of the discussion with our friends at UAH, because John Carrier is now going to be a part of it. Because remember, it was supposed to be FC Tulsa as team number 4 in Blastoff Battle, but then FC Tulsa decided to withdraw from the tournament. And so you end up with John Carrier and UAH now a part of the discussion. We caught up with him yesterday afternoon, and we caught up with Kieran Rowe. Kieran Rowe will be a rising senior, and he'll be on the preview show that will be airing on the network in the middle of next week. But here is our conversation with John Carrier about what life is like with him going into something and jumping in feet first and diving into the deep end of the pool. This was a fun conversation. Yeah. Time to catch up with our friends at UAH. Some of you might know them for the hockey program and the Chargers, but we're going to catch up with John Carrier, the head coach of the football program. And we mean that FUTBOL, football, and soccer, depending on your perspective. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us and previewing the Blastoff Battle.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. So what was the conversation like? I know that there was another team that was plotted in, but when you got tapped on the shoulder and said, "Hey, come on to the dance," what was the reaction like there on campus?
For me personally, it was a wow factor. And then I had to obviously spill the beans to the boys the day after, when it was cemented in place. But the overall consensus was, hey, we're taking a place of a pro team, entering a pro tournament to where these boys are gearing up for their seasons, and we've been invited to the show. So it's a great experience for us. There was a lot of moving parts to get the ball rolling. But I know the boys will be raring to go and ultimately be given an experience of a lifetime. So, yeah, we're all excited here.
Now, for those that don't know your program, what are the expectations that you're looking at coming into the 2024 season, and some of the names and faces of folks that they're going to be able to see there in this Huntsville tournament?
So we're a Division II school that competes in the Gulf South Conference. In terms of level, I would see this as a David versus Goliath battle. Obviously, they've been in pre-season for a couple of weeks now, and we've just got back from our winter break. So there's a lot of variables that go into it. Fitness and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, as our expectations comes into it for the full season, or for the spring season, moving forward, we've only got 5 play dates, and 2 of those play dates are actually coming up this weekend versus Huntsville and Chattanooga. But we're pretty optimistic in what we're trying to do and gear towards the rest of the spring season, moving into our full season.
For those that haven't had the chance to see you play, how would you describe the kind of play that UAH it will have out there, and how different is it going to be? Because you're kind of just, you're kind of just getting the engine warmed up. How different will it be from what you're used to having out there in a fuller season?
So, yeah, we normally last year we carried 38 guys, and now we're down to about 25 players. And then obviously we've got to deal with the eligibility standpoint, the fitness standpoint, a lot of obviously injuries that goes along with it. So we're down to now probably around 20 players. So in terms of depth, it's just making sure our lads for the next 2 weeks or so are getting sharp, getting fit, and all that sort of stuff, to where we able to compete over the course of not just one game versus a professional team, but 2 games. So that expectations we're trying to go for, and with the resources that we've got in terms of NCAA rules, we're only allowed to practice 3 times a week or 4 hours a week. So that's what we've got going into it. But nonetheless, I know my boys will be gung-ho and raring to go. But no, in terms of work ethic and stuff like that, we're an optimistic possession-based team. But ultimately, at the college level, the same as the professional level, we're trying to win games. And we're missing several key players this spring season due to academics, eligibility, all that sort of stuff. So ultimately, we've got to try and find the best formation and players that fit the system, that are actually fit coming from the winter break, that can give us the best experience for our guys. So we'll probably see a lot of possession from Huntsville. We'll probably see a lot of defending on our side. So we'll be doing a lot of obviously defensive work these last couple of weeks or next couple of weeks. But every time we get the ball, we'll be wanting to score.
When it comes to this particular tournament, I mean, you're going up against, you're looking at matches on basically a day off. You've got a match, the day off, and then a second match. I mean, this will be a test for you as well. When you come out of this the other side, what lessons are you hoping that you and the UAH program will have learned with a roster that's not as big, with all of the challenges that you have? I guess, what were the lessons that you'd like to carry with you regardless of result? So
in our full season, we actually play on a Friday, Sunday. So we're somewhat used to it. But obviously, in the full season, we're at the peak shape of our fitness, So doing this at the start of a spring season where we're nowhere near fit is going to be a test in itself. So just having the character and the resilience to grind through those games, especially on the Sunday game. I know we'll be flying on the Friday game, but having that turn around and do it again on a Sunday is going to be very challenging for us. But I think it's going to bring that cohesiveness, that camaraderie within our team, knowing that we've got to fight for each other. Otherwise, we won't see the results that we're going to get. And I think moving forward for the next 3 games or so, if we do well, we can hold our heads high and say, look, we competed against these top teams. Then we've got 3 games after this. We can obviously use that and learn from it and get results out of the next 3 games or so and moving forward to the full season. So, we're excited.
And I know that first matchup is against a now good friend in Jack Collison with Huntsville City, and then you get to challenge yourself up against Chattanooga FC in the second match. What's it been like to build this new friendship with Jack Collison up there in Huntsville?
I can't speak. I can speak so highly for HFC and how they've done things, and I can just hold my hats off and to Jack and his coaching staff and the admin. The foundation, the relationships that we've built has been brilliant. Their hospitality has been top notch, and me and Jack have formed a great relationship. We're now good friends, to where we do see each other outside of soccer. We're able to go as a coaching staff. He invites us to his training sessions and all that sort of stuff. So we've formed a great bond there. We've actually played them last spring, and then in the full seasons, we've had 2 games or so prior to this game. But now it's for their gearing up to their season. They're going to be fully fit. They'll be flying. So it'll be a good one. But no, I can't speak as highly as I can for those guys.
For someone who hasn't had the chance to see UAH play, who will be some of the folks that, like, when they wander into the stadium and they're looking at you for the first time, who are some of the players here in early 2024 that folks can gravitate toward and keep an eye on?
We have a striker for Spain, Rafa Vega, who was an all-conference player last year. He scored X amount of goals, but he's a live house up up top, non-stop running. We'll always try, we'll always work, and you'll probably see him shooting from all sorts of ranges this weekend. Then we've got an up-and-coming freshman who won Freshman of the Week a couple of times, and he's normally an outside back or a left or a right back, but we're actually probably going to be playing him at centre half, and he's another great player that's someone to look forward to. And then a couple of our captains, Justin Alcantara, will be in the heart of our midfield, and I can probably bet that he'll be running the most out there from the boys.
All right, last question for you, and thanks for hanging out with us to kind of pull the curtain back on your program. Who's the better player in the adult league, you or Jack?
Oh, it's 100% Jack. 100% Jack. He's still got it. He trots around. He's not as fit as he used to be, but no, he's great to play with.
John Carrier, the head coach of the Chargers of UAH, a part of the Blastoff Battle. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us here and letting everybody know about your program. Looking forward to seeing you up there in the Blastoff Battle, taking on Huntsville City and taking on Chattanooga FC. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks, John.
So there you go. That's catching up with John Carrier, the head coach at UAH. And remember, Blastoff Battle is going to be on the SDH Network week from today. The 2 games a week from today. Tormenta and Chattanooga FC. That one's going to be at 5 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be Huntsville City Football Club and UAH. That one's going to be a fun one to end day number 1. They're going to have a big high school showcase on Saturday. A lot of different clubs that are going to be playing as an organizational event, and just drawing everybody into the experience and reminding folks what soccer means to the state of Alabama, and especially up there in Huntsville. All day Saturday, February 18th on Sunday, noon Eastern kick, UAH and Chattanooga FC, and then at 3:15 Eastern, it's going to be Huntsville City and South Georgia Tormenta. All those are going to be on the SDH Network. Looking forward to that, and it's going to be fun once again. We can't thank our friends enough from Huntsville City Football Club for letting us come up there and hang out and broadcast the games to this and every other planet. So it's going to be real fun. Once again, going to be real fun. Thanks to Will. Just remember, gang, Huntsville is Alabama soccer. And he says that UAH is a good school, about like Southern Poly back before it got absorbed before KSU and KSU Engineering. Dell reminds us that Carrier came from the Norwich City Academy as a kid. And also, Will, if you're going to be up there, the Saturday games, the high school field's right by the Joe. So it's going to be fun. And once again, it's another element where Dell says loving the preseason tournaments with teams from different levels of the pyramid. So very, very cool. We're going to have Prem and Proper coming up in just a little bit to wrap up the week. And we're going to bring Maddie in to kind of go through juice boxes and what she thinks about what's going on. Reminder tonight, 6 and 8, the SDH games of the week, Roswell and River Ridge. Boys are at 8, girls are at 6. And so it's going to be fun to be up there at River Ridge again and catch up with our friends up there. The doubleheader 6 and 8 tonight on the SDH Network. Back to the news and all the news that's fit to print. Dell says Tom Bogert, during the days between the announcement and the appeal for McGuire's failed transfer, at least one opportunistic MLS team tried to put in a discovery claim on McGuire, trying to get some gam for the rights. Somebody was thinking. Somebody was trying to jump the queue and try to get in a little gam. Yeah, can't blame them. I mean, that's solid business work. Solid business work by our friends in Major League Soccer. So, very interesting, but not necessarily a surprise. I mean, come on now. Let's see. I'm trying to buzz through. Oh yeah, let's go through what to watch, where to watch it, and gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we get into everything with Prem and Proper before we get to the weekend. And I love how when you get rid of all of your cookies and everything just gets completely blown out of your computer. All right, what to watch and where to watch it. Today, obviously, we'll do today because the weekend's going to be pretty busy across the board, and you get to find all your stuff. Remember, tomorrow with Atlanta United and with Tampa Bay Rowdies, atlutd.com is where it will be, and it'll also be on 92.9 The Game. So that will be a fun one to keep an eye on and see how everyone is enjoying their time down in Tampa, St. Pete. Today, U17 Women's Championship, USA and Haiti. That is at 1 o'clock on FS2. BN and BN in Espanol. Marseille and Metz at 3 o'clock. You can catch up with our friends at BN and watch them. TSA for the fans, CDO, Gold TV, Liga 1 Max, all that stuff. Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. You can get the network. You can get all the stuff. You can become a true degenerate, watch all the Brasileiro. It's all there in one place for you at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Bien en Español, Marseille and Metz at 3 o'clock. ESPN Deportes, Cadiz and Betis at 3. Tuda NA has the Friday night doubleheader. Mazatlan Atlas at 8. Tijuana and Querétaro at 10. Championship on the plus, 3 o'clock. Sheffield Wednesday, Birmingham City. It's a relegation 6-pointer. Keep an eye on that one. Bundesliga, 2:20, Dortmund and Freiburg. Bundesliga B, Hamburger and Hanover at 12:30. Cadiz and Betis also on the plus. Argentine Copa de la Liga, 5 o'clock. Doubleheader, Newell's Old Boys and Union de Santa Fe at 5. And 7:15, Racing Club San Lorenzo, Vélez Sarsfield, and Gimnasia La Plata, Serie A, Salernitana, and Empoli at 2:45. So that's what to watch and where to watch it. So let's get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo and see what's going on. Because remember, you've got some windows that haven't completely closed, and then some folks who are already looking to the summer window. Manchester United are monitoring Ivan Toney, but value him at 70. Won't get into a bidding contest. Brentford's looking for 80. Thomas Frank is already trying to plan for a life without Ivan Toney. Eric Ten Hag says no decisions have been made on the future of Johnny Evans or Rafa Varane. La Liga president Javier Tebas says that there's a 55 to 60% chance Real Madrid will sign Mbappe from PSG. He's like, Liverpool ready to challenge Arsenal for the signing of midfielder Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad. Al Ittihad will try again for Mo Salah in the summer. AC Milan considering appointing Graham Potter as their manager at the end of the season. It's from our friends at TalkSport. Manchester United have held talks with Kobe Mainu over a new contract. That's from Fabrizio Romano, Tier 1 source. Arsenal been monitoring Athletic Bilbao and Spain winger Nico Williams. Gunners Ghanaian midfielder Thomas Partey attracting interest from Juve. Real Madrid tracking Bayern Munich's Alphonso Davies, but face competition from Manchester City and Liverpool. Newcastle keen on Everton's Amadou Onana. Lewandowski has a contract at Barca, which runs through June of 26, and wants to fulfill it. Then that would make him 37 by the time the contract's done. Liverpool not expecting Thiago Alcantara to stay at the club beyond this summer. AC Milan set to be among a number of Italian teams to show interest in Arsenal defender Jakub Kivior in the summer. Blackburn expected to appoint John Eustace. That's a 4-letter paper. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion. And Sweden defender Emil Kraft set to sign a contract extension with Newcastle. So that's your gossip, rumor, and your innuendo. Yesterday, Atlanta United 2's schedule came out in MLS Next Pro. And it'll be another season up at the Proving Ground. Very, very cool. 28 matches and set to host 14 of them in Kennesaw. And the kickoff will be the second season. It will be at home Saturday, March 16th, 3 o'clock against Orlando City B. So the Purple B team will be coming to Kennesaw for Atlanta United 2. Tickets go on sale to the general public on February 19th. You now have 2 independent clubs in the league, Carolina Core, Chattanooga FC, and the divisions have been kind of flipped around a little bit. Atlanta competing in the Southeast, the former Central, which now includes Carolina Core, Chattanooga FC, FC Cincinnati 2, Crew 2, Fire 2, moving from the Central, now the Southeast, to the Northeast Division. 7 of the first 9 matches played at home this year. 3-match homestand in April. 3 matches in a week. Union 2, Chattanooga FC, and FC Cincinnati 2. 5 of 6 matches on the road during June and July. 3 consecutive away. Purple Team B, Messi and Friends B, Red Bulls 2. Late June, early July. Lone home contest is with Crew 2. And the regular season concludes in September, hosting Hunt City, September 15, Messi and Friends 2 on September 24, before going to Chester to take on the Union 2 on September 29. Last year, Steve Cook is back on the touchline. They were 11-17 last year, missed out on the playoffs toward the end of the season. Looking forward to seeing guys like Matias Gallardo, Alan Carlton, Javier Armas, Jaden Hibbert. And you will also get the pick your opponent in the playoffs format. That didn't work well last year for folks. So, if you're the higher seed, you get to pick. But first home match, March 16th against Purple B. Carolina Core comes in March 24th. First road game at Crown Legacy on March 28th. And so MLS Next Pro will be off and running as well. Trying to see if there's anything else that I might have missed in the news and notes. Let's see. Big games in Germany and Spain tomorrow. That is absolutely true. And Will says about the area around Joe Davis, they're building it up like the Battery in Atlanta. Live, work, play kind of a thing. Will says it's going to be a purple cup district. Means open container as long as the container is a purple cup. So are they Orlando fans? That's not going to go over well. That's going to be a weird look. But let's see. I'm trying to scan to see one more thing. Actually, tell you what. Let's do this. With everything going on in the Premier League, tell you what. Let's bring in Maddie, and we'll do kind of Prem and Proper here. All right, Maddie. Prem and Proper for the end of the week, but I wanted to start with this particular item, and I know that this will shock you. It will stun you to your very core. Tom Morgan over at the Telegraph, headline, Manchester City believed to be behind Premier League legal threat over ownership rule changes. I know you're stunned.
What?
I know you're shocked.
No way.
Yes,
Are you
absolutely.
kidding?
Apparently so. I know that we are all just absolutely flabbergasted and just are like Macaulay Culkin after realizing that he was home alone in the movie. That look when he's on the mid-level coming running up and down the stairs, or he puts the aftershave on his face for the first time. That's what we're looking at. All right, so Premier League facing a legal challenge believed to be led by Manchester City over plans to tighten rules on associated party transactions. We've been talking about this all week. After lengthy negotiations, England's top tier won approval from clubs on Friday to redraft fair market value deal-making terms first implemented back in 21. Rules initially designed amid concerns over potentially inflated sponsorship deals at Newcastle United. Rival club concerns had mounted since the Football League scandal, alleged off-the-book payments to staff at Manchester City, who have since been hit with over 100 financial breach charges. City, of course, denying the allegations. A further tightening of the rules, which have yet to be disclosed, mooted for months, passed at a meeting of the top-tier shareholders in London earlier today. Quoting the league saith, quote, following a full review of the existing associated party transactions rules and fair market value assessment protocols, clubs agreed to a series of amendments to further enhance the efficiency and accuracy of the system. One club who opposed the change told Telegraph Sport the amends were passed by the skin of their teeth, and at the second time of asking. Clubs were informed that one of its members had informed the Premier League that it could resort to arbitration proceedings to prevent new changes. Sources close to talks, and City declined to respond to suggestions initially raised in a Sky News article that the club at the center of the rebellion is City. They're among 8 clubs to vote down a temporary ban on loans. So, once again, hey, who knew that the folks in the Premier League would be disagreeing with each other about like new rules and stuff?
Yeah, honestly. It's also just funny that City is the one leading the charge for it.
Who knew that who knew that they would be the ones?
You know, it's not like they have over 11, 12 different cases open for many different things that they've done wrong and haven't received any sanctions for it.
Yeah, and that gets to the other story, and I'm trying to figure out where it was. I think, if I remember correctly, no, it was not in that paper. Where was it? Which paper was it in? See, now I'm having to sit here and fish through all of my papers and try to figure out which one it was.
Athletic.
Where is it? Oh, Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche, courtesy of our friends at the Times, and once again, I know that this will shock everybody. Paul Joyce, the correspondent for the Times, when he was catching up with Sean Dyche. Here we go. Sean Dyche has questioned why Everton's 2 breaches of the Premier League's financial rules will be heard before Manchester City's case is dealt with. The Everton manager said that people in the street, in quotes, throughout the country were of a similar view as the threat of further sanctions hangs over the club. Everton are waiting to see whether they've succeeded in their appeal. And yet the case against City is still outstanding, despite the fact they were charged with 115 breaches a year ago relating to breaches between 09-10 and 22-23. And Everton plays Manchester City this weekend. Quote, like everyone else, we're all just wondering what makes one rule for one and one rule for the other. and he's got a touchline ban game after getting 3 bookings this season. So he, much like Jurgen Klopp, is saying these things and knows he doesn't have to show up. The people in the street are asking that, why is it particularly Everton? I don't know what the exact number is, but they reference over 100 charges against City. I'm not questioning Man City. So he starts in and he goes, I'm not questioning Man City. I don't know whether they've done stuff or not done stuff. But the point is, it is certainly a long time coming. That story's been going around for a while now about all these charges. So it's, how come us? And where is everyone else's charges? What's happening with them? I don't even know how you answer that many charges if there are that many. Nottingham Forest also is going to be heard this season. Deitch, who lives in Nottingham, said everyone's a bit like, come on then, where's it going? If you're going to do it with them, then you have to start doing it with everyone. And you're going to have to start fast-tracking everything because it's relevant now. So Sean Deitch, he's like, well, why us and why not City? Well, I'll tell you, Sean, they got folks with billable hours and they ain't afraid to use them. That's why. One other thing in the championship, get this. I don't know if you saw this. Martin Hardy at the Times. Headline, Patrick Bamford. Leeds fans confronted me at home after a penalty miss. Revealed how fans turned up at his house and intimidated him and his family after he missed a penalty against Newcastle last season. Had the path to his house blocked by Leeds supporters in their cars and was so concerned for the safety of his family that he called on club security guards to sit outside his home with a guard dog for the rest of the night.
Oh my gosh.
Deleted his 280-character account because of the abuse he was facing at the time. Said threats were made against his young daughter, but the harassment did not only come from behind a screen. Happened last May, and it was on a podcast. My mate's a footballer, comedian Joe Wilkinson. I've never heard of the guy. 2-2 draw with Newcastle at Ellen Road. First half penalty saved by Nick Pope, relegated from the Premier League at the end of the year. Bamford said, quote, as I turn up the drive to get in, I can't even cross the gate. There's 2 cars blocking it. I went to put my window down. As I did, they put their windows up and just stared at me. Then the gate opened because my dad had opened it, and they drove off. I always had Twitter until about mid-March. The abuse got so bad, threatening my family and even my little girl. I think it was a culmination of the last few weeks. I took a lot of flack for it. The way they expressed it was crazy. It goes from conversations with a sports psychologist about sorting out how I'm feeling to then how I've got to deal with the fact that my partner doesn't feel safe in her own home. Club were good. They ended up putting security on the house for the full night. But I was like, how do I explain to my partner, don't worry, everything's safe, even though we're sitting there with security and a security dog outside the house all night? Leeds were fined $40,000 for the incident against Eddie Howe for the FA in that instance. And you've got stuff with Port Vale and stupidity down here with Ivan Toney, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so Ivan Toney, Patrick Bamford misses a penalty. They got to have security outside the man's house.
Gee, that's nuts. I mean, some people need to get a firm grip on reality. And, like, this is, like, it's not like players are not these, like, entities that are higher than everybody else. Like, they're human. Like, you can't show up to someone's house and threaten them and do all of that crazy stuff for no reason. So what if he missed a PK? It happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Players miss PKs all the time. It's ridiculous. I'm like, it makes them look stupid. And also, first of all, why weren't the police called the way they get those people out of there? Like, they should be arrested for stalking, harassment.
Yeah. You got to, that's, in the heat of the moment, you're probably not looking at license plates and things like that.
No, I mean, most likely not. Like this, I feel like we hear the same things like from this. We also have the situation with Ivan Toney. Like, these fans are so unhinged, and there needs to be consequences because this is becoming ridiculous. And it's becoming a danger to these players. Mm-hmm. These players are going to start these players are going to not want to come out and meet the fans, do anything like that. They're going to leave if this keeps happening. And that's going to not be on the player, not going to be on the club. That's going to be on the fans. And the fans are going to be the only people they have to blame for that.
Mm-hmm. There we go. All right. So we'll keep an eye on those kinds of things. But yeah, that was the latest, and it was it's disappointing that we see stuff from Patrick Bamford and all those kinds of things. Sadly, that's why we have to do stupidity down here, because if we don't and we just kind of let it go, then it's almost like tacit acceptance. Even though that's not how we feel, we've got to continue to remind folks about everything that goes on, that for this game that we love as much as we do and we talk about as much as we do every single day. But we've got to remind ourselves that we have to be just as vigilant in these kinds of situations.
Absolutely.
And we will rock and roll. All right, so Premier League, here we go. We'll run through the matches. It's a very, very busy Saturday, by the way. 7 matches, 2 on Sunday, and then you got Monday Night Football as well. And once again, we'll play it. We'll play a cliffhanger like we always do. There's a game that you want to talk about specifically, and we will stop, and we will talk about that particular game. But you have to say stop, and then we'll stop. You can talk about it. All right. So the game that leads off everything, the 7:30 game. No Sean Dyche on the touchline. Sean Dyche saying all of his things about Manchester City not having to be on the touchline at the Etihad. Manchester City's a minus 500 on the board, going up against Everton. Everton is a plus 1285 to win. Your draw is a plus 662.
All right,
Stop. Go.
I'm excited for that game, especially after hearing all of that stuff going on. I mean, listen, it's at Manchester, so obviously, it'd be interesting. I'm just saying it'd be an interesting thing if Everton were to pull something out of there. I feel like it'd be huge. I don't know if it will happen, but I will definitely be up watching that game. I hope so. And yeah, and Dell said Everton is still in regulation zone, so they have to fight. They have to. Literally, they have to. They tied their last one. They've tied the last 2 games, lost against Luton Town. I apologize. Lost against them. And then their last win was against Crystal Palace. So, I mean, they have to either get a tie, which is not ideal, or win that match against Man City.
Yep. And I'm looking for Manchester City to continue to stay as a part of that group up at the top. I think Manchester City gets the win.
I think
10 o'clockers, 5 matches. Fulham at home at Craven Cottage is a plus 143 against Bournemouth. They draw as a plus 261. Bournemouth is a plus 188. Burnley at Anfield taking on Liverpool. Liverpool a minus 556 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Your draw is a plus 725. Burnley in the relegation zone right now is a plus 1375. Luton, and this is one of those relegation 6-pointers down at the bottom of the table. This is probably going to be the game to watch at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I was going to say stop for this one. This one, like you said, battle of relegation. It's Luton and it's Sheffield United.
Yep.
Both of them, they need this. You have Luton at 7 at 17th. You have Sheffield United at 20. I mean, this is a huge game for both of them. It's going to be it's going to be like a cat fight. They're going to be back and forth. I'm excited. This one I will also be tuning into, since there are multiple games happening at 10 a.m.
Yep.
That one I will be very much listening into, because I really, really like that one.
Luton Town has found their offense recently. They've put up 4 a couple of times in recent play, and they've gotten out of the relegation zone. They're in that group 3 that we always talk about. But Luton right now at a minus 130 at Kenilworth Road. Ooh. Sheffield United a plus 365 on the road, and your draw option is a plus 295. I like Luton Town in this one to continue to spread further and further away from the relegation zone. 2 more at 10 o'clock. Spurs and Brighton. Spurs a minus 128, draws a plus 345. Brighton's a plus 305. I don't know if Yeon-Min Son will be available, or if he is, it'll be off the bench, considering he's coming off of Asia Cup. Also at 10 o'clock in the middle of the table, this one's a big one for Brentford on the road at Molineux. Wolves a plus 112, hosting the Bees. Your draw's a plus 269. Brentford's a plus 242. Your 12:30. Nottingham Forest and Newcastle at City Ground. Nottingham Forest a plus 229, a home dog. Newcastle's a plus 112, and your draw is a plus 281.
All right, I will stop this one.
Stop.
As I will say this because Dell said something in the chat. Will Matt Turner get the start? Now, personally, I think yes. And why I do, because in that last game against the FA Cup, he had a phenomenal game. Very, very, very good job defending. I mean, that PK thing. I sent that tweet to you as well. I mean, just like team celebrating him, all that stuff. I feel like he's earned the start to get the chance to do it. Will he? I don't know, because I'm not their coach.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You're not Nuno.
I'm not, unfortunately. I think you know what? I don't think I'd actually be a really good coach. I think I would be I don't know if I'd do pretty well. But
Maddie anyway, yelling at everybody the entire time.
Oh yeah. I totally would. I would be so mad. And then you also have Gio. I think Gio might start. He didn't play FA. I mean, you're going up against a team like Newcastle. I mean, obviously, looking at the board, it's not as like they're a bit higher up on the board. So obviously, Nottingham is playing at home. You want to come out with full force.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gio gets the start. Why not?
Yeah. And I mean, you dropped $5 million to bring in a keeper from Strasbourg. You pissed off the Strasbourg fans. And so I'm thinking that you might be in one of those situations like we were talking about here with Atlanta United, where you may end up with one of your keepers being your cup keeper and the other being your starter. And with the competition going on a daily basis as to who will your starter be, I still think the guy that you brought in from Strasbourg is going to be your number one starter. Matt Turner might end up being your cup keeper going forward. Biggest thing about Forest is they've got to figure out how to score goals. Nuno is not a goals-centric individual, and it's going to be a tough one. But City Ground, traditionally a very tough place to play. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a shared result with both Nottingham Forest and Newcastle. Sunday, 2 games. West Ham and Arsenal, and you know that Jack Collison's going to be getting up early on Sunday morning to watch this one with his beloved Hammers at a plus 501 at home, taking on Arsenal. Arsenal's a minus 182, and your draw is a plus 345 as Arsenal tries to stay in that group of 5 up top. And then Aston Villa, who is trying to get into the European spots as well. Intriguing matchup at 11:30. Villa at a plus 117, favored at home against Manchester United at a plus 214, and your draw is a plus 287. Monday Night Football, the teams that are left, it is Crystal Palace and Chelsea at 3 o'clock. We'll probably talk about this one again on Monday. But Crystal Palace, it looks like Roy Hodgson, he ain't going to make it through. He'll make it through this year, but he won't make it after this year. And unless things continue to get worse, you won't have Michael Olise. You're going to have problems scoring goals. You're a plus 342 in the composite as an underdog. Chelsea on the road at a minus 125. Enzo Fernandez. It seems apparently all you got to do with Enzo is get him mad, and he'll score for you, as they did in FA Cup recently. Your draw is a plus 292. So Chelsea favored on the road at a minus $1.25 on Monday Night Football. So there you go. Your standings for those that might have forgotten heading into the weekend. And it is Liverpool up on top. Everybody's played 23 matches except for a couple of squads. Bournemouth has not. Manchester City has not. Brentford has not. Remember, you had the match that was suspended, and Luton Town has only played 22. So Liverpool at 51 points. Manchester City 2 points back, match in hand. They've got goal difference over Arsenal. So Manchester City wins. They get to 52. And Liverpool, like I said, it's that group of 5. Literally, it's Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal. Villa's at 46. Spurs at 44. That's group number 1. Group number 2 starts with Manchester United. They are in 6th at 38. West Ham's at 36. Brighton at 35. Remember, they're juggling European competition. Newcastle at 33. They've hit each column in their last 3 matches after losing 3 in a row. Wolves are 10th at 32. Chelsea is 11th at 31. And then you get into group number 3, leading into the relegation fight. Bournemouth at 27 points. Andoni Iraola doing a really good job. They finally have warmed that engine up a little bit. Fulham's at 26. Crystal Palace at 24. And they're alternating what they're doing over their last 5. Brentford at 22. They've lost 7 of 8. And Nottingham Forest, 1 point in their last 3 matches. They're at 21 points in 16th. Luton Town, they are unbeaten in 4 of their last 5. They seem to have found out what to do, and they have scored a lot of goals doing it. They're in 17th, a point out of the relegation zone. Everton with the 10-point penalty. They are in 18th. They've drawn their last 3. Burnley at 13. Sheffield United dead last with 10 points, 2 wins in their first 23. They're on their second manager, and they are going down.
Yeah, that's bad. But one thing I'm interested. I was like looking at the standings. If I'm looking at it, if Everton didn't get the 10-point deduction, they would be at 12.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They are a very good football team. Sean Dyche has found offense. I don't know where that came from because that's contrary to what he did at Burnley, but they have found some offensive firepower, and we're all going to be waiting because remember the appeals with all of the profit and sustainability rules, the PSR that we use as a part of the alphabet soup here on the show, that's got to be determined by the end of the year. And so Nottingham Forest has to be figured out by the end of the year. Everton has to be figured out by the end of the year. Manchester City, they'll get to it. So, so that's what we're looking at with that. I think Gio would be eligible versus Manchester United in the FA. I think that works. And yeah, by the way, Kenilworth Road, if you have never seen the Kenny and the home of Luton Town, it literally is jammed into a subdivision of row homes. And there are gaps in the row homes that turn into the gate entrances to get you into the stadium itself.
What?
Oh yeah. So this will be your homework Google project, Maddie, is go look at Kenilworth Road and the stories involving Kenilworth Road and access and where it fits inside the subdivision. Very, very cool stuff. And if you can get a ticket to the Kenny to see a match, get a ticket to the Kenny to see a match. It's a really cool environment. And they had to do $12 million of renovations just to make it TV compatible for the Premier League going into this year.
Oh, I want to go. I want to see a Premier League game in Europe so bad. I would literally fly up there just to see a game and then fly back.
So there it is. See, so that, and what you also ought to do is go see some of the stuff in the lower divisions too.
Yes.
And see what that looks like there as well. So, yes. Yeah, Will. Old soccer stadia in England, old baseball stadiums in the States that they're jam-packed into streets are so awesome. Now, Dell is a member of the Don's Trust. I'm officially jealous. He's seen games at Old Trafford and Craven Cottage, which is Manchester United and Fulham, and at AFC Wimbledon. I'm guessing, Dell, you saw it at Cherry Red Records and not at the New Barn. If you saw it at the New Barn, I'd really be jealous. But as a member of the Don's Trust at AFC Wimbledon, I am really jealous that you've seen an AFC Wimbledon match. So, as a member of the Don's Trust, glad you're supporting 2008 or 9. So that was definitely at Cherry Red. So when they were way down in the lower divisions. All right. So once again, Maddie, tease tonight. What's going on at 6:00 and 8:00?
Hey y'all, we got Roswell at River Ridge for high school soccer. We have the girls at 6 p.m., which I will be calling, and then we have the boys at 8 p.m. or whenever the girls game gets done. If we end up in a extra time situation like we were with Peachtree Ridge at Parkview, that will be right after that game, and it'll all be on SDH. So make sure you guys do it. And John will be calling the boys game as well. So
yes, allegedly, what I'll be doing is possibly calling the boys match. So at 8:00, but no, it'll be fun. And if you missed it, the breaking news off the top of the show: SDH, your home of the Blastoff Battle this year in 2024. All of the matches, all 4 matches, will be here on the network on a week from today and a week from Sunday. And we're also going to have high school, so it's going to be a very, very busy week. Business is picking up, as old JR used to say. And thanks to our friends at Huntsville City Football Club for being a part of letting us come up and hang out for the party next weekend. So very, very cool stuff there. So that's a show. Once again, thanks to John Carrier, the head coach at UAH. Thanks to Jack Collison, the head coach at Huntsville City. Thanks to Greg Garza, who was in Nashville and talking about the ICA program in Major League Soccer. Very, very cool. Thanks to all of them, and thanks to all of you guys on the Twitch pitch and however you are accessing us 2 hours at a time, Monday through Friday. Once again, remember, the kickoff for Atlanta United and Tampa is 3:00, atlutd.com, but you'll hear the audio, so jump on early, listen to Garrett and Abe and the pregame show and the postgame show ahead of time. I think 2:00 is the pregame show, and they'll go for an hour after with Atlanta and Tampa Bay tomorrow afternoon, 3:00. atlutd.com, 92.9 The Game, and all of the social media platforms that you would pick them up always. So for Maddie, for me, and for everybody here at SDH, thanks for hanging out with us for another week of the show. And pay attention to your favorite teams and tell us all about it on Monday when Garrett or Abe will join us and talk about Atlanta United. We'll start it all over again. High school soccer tonight, Huntsville next Friday and Sunday. For everybody here at SDH, be good. Have another good week. It's the end of the show. That means I get to do this. Mucha plati. I'll play it safe. And we'll be talking to you later today.